Only 8. Only. Yeah, you know you've got a problem when 8 watches is only 8. I think my bank manager would agree as well.
I've got nothing left. I've got nothing left.
We're more than halfway through 2025 already, and it has been a pretty good year for watches so far. Lots of great new releases, lots of vintage discoveries, at least for me personally, and yes, I have been tempted quite a few times to say the least. Hello, my name is Louis, and this is As Time Decides. If you've seen the channel before, then you will recognise some of these watches, or perhaps all of them. But if you're new, then of course you won't, and maybe you'll see something that you like. If you want to know more about each watch, you can go back and watch my full review videos, or drop a question in the comment box below, and I'll try my best to answer it. These are all watches that I bought with my own money. There's no freebies here or sponsored content or anything like that. These are just my personal watches. We'll start with watches I sold. So the first watch I sold was the Gekkota Airstream, which is like a sort of Rolex inspired field watch. Looks like a cross between a Rolex Explorer and a Rolex Thunderbird. It's a really attractive watch, got a good movement, Miyota 9 series movement. But actually what happened was I saw a slightly different version of this watch with a brown dial and a Jubilee bracelet, and I was just blown away by it. I wanted that watch so badly, but it's long sold out, couldn't find it. And then I couldn't look at this watch in the same light anymore, and so I decided to sell it, and I made a little bit of a profit, which of course I promptly spent on more watches. Don't really regret selling it, you know, even though it was a really nice watch. The next watch I sold, well, actually a trio of watches I sold, was 3 Addies dive watches, the AD 2030, 2055 and 2066. So I sold the 2030 and 2066 because I thought they were a bit too similar to other watches I owned, namely the Lorier Astra. I thought that they had the same case shape and, you know, they're just a bit too similar, so I sold those. And then the AD 2055, that one I just felt was a bit too big for me. And again, I got a couple of other green dial watches and I thought, well, you know, I don't really need this one, so I sold that one to put towards other watches. Mostly made my money back actually. They do hold the value quite well. I guess people are a little bit afraid of going to AliExpress to buy watches. The last watch I sold was the Rudland F025. Again, a stunning watch. The dial looks incredible, but it was just a bit too big for me, and I thought I'm probably not going to wear it that much, so it got sold. I made most of my money back, not all of it. Again, people don't tend to trust AliExpress, so they will pay a little bit of a higher price. So I did get most of my money back. Now we come to the acquisitions. So I've only bought 8 watches so far this year. Wait, only 8? Only. Yeah, you know you've got a problem when 8 watches is only 8. I think my bank manager would agree as well. But in my defence, they are all pretty different. I like to think I've got unique taste, but I suppose so does everyone really. Anyway, let's get straight into it. So the first watch is this absolutely gorgeous gold-plated dress watch by Francesco Smalto Paris. Now, I believe it's a fashion brand, and yeah, this watch is quartz. It's gold-plated, but it's absolutely gorgeous. It's got like a Disco Volante style case, even though it does have visible lugs, and a lapis style dial. The best thing is it's only 33mm or so in diameter, and it's extremely thin. It's absolutely perfect for my wrist. Obviously, if you've got a bigger wrist, it's not going to work for you, but for me, it's absolutely ideal. I think I paid about £180 on Instagram for this watch. That's unbeatable. You get a unique watch for a very affordable price, and that's what collecting's all about for me. You know, I walk into a room wearing this. Who else is going to be wearing a watch like this? Very few people, I imagine, if anyone at all. The next watch is an AliExpress special. It's the Pagani Design PD1785, which is an homage or clone or rip-off, or whatever you want to call it, to the Rolex Air King 4820. And it's a pretty well done homage. The dial, especially with the handset and the markers, looks incredible. But unfortunately, the Rolex style case, Oyster style case and bracelet, you know, it's almost well done, but because the watch uses the Seiko NH35 movement, It's just that little bit too thick, and for me that spoils the watch. I know a lot of people like this movement, but I'd rather just have a quartz like the Seiko VH31, which is, you know, like a mecha quartz movement with the 4 ticks per second. But that, in this case, slim it down to about 10.5 millimeters, 11 millimeters. It's going to wear so much better on the wrist. So, you know, it's close to being a great watch for the money, but just not quite there. Next up is the Timex Cara Barrett V1 edition. And this is just a really charming 1960s looking dress watch. Simple, elegant case, gorgeous baby blue dial, Breguet numerals. Just looks fantastic. It did originally come on a stretchy bracelet, but I swapped it for this so-called ostrich leather strap from AliExpress, and it looks the business. Now, I probably did overpay for this watch, paid over £200. Normally I wouldn't suggest paying more than £100 for a Timex of this quality, but it looks $1 million. You know, I can't help but be charmed by Timex, even though I know a lot of people criticise the brand. I'm a fanboy, I can't help it. Next is another fashion watch. It's the Gucci 545M. Now, most people wouldn't touch a Gucci watch with a barge pole, but just look at it. I think it looks fantastic. Again, it's only 33 millimeters or so in diameter, incredibly thin, and it is a true Disco Volante style, this watch, because it does have the lugs hidden behind the case. The dial is really intricate. You know, it's sort of like Cartier-esque, got some nice dial work on it. And again, it was about, I think, £240, and that included import fees and charges and taxes and all that nonsense. And it's just another lovely little dress watch, perfect for my tiny wrist. Obviously, if you've got a bigger wrist, 33 millimeters is going to look silly, but on my wrist, it's absolutely perfect. Again, who's going to be wearing this watch? You're not likely to see another person wearing it, and that's what I like about it as well. Now for something really special, this is the Tissot Heritage Navigator World Time Z197, and it's basically a remake of a classic Tissot from the 1950s, and you can tell it's a very old-fashioned looking watch. Most modern world timers usually have like a globe on the dial or something like that, and this doesn't, so you can tell it's old-fashioned. Instead, it's got a 12-hour bezel, which makes it easy to tell the time locally, but also a 24-hour chapter ring and a rotating disc with the place names on. So at a glance, you can see the time in any of those cities in the world. It's gold plated, not actually solid gold, and it runs an ETA automatic movement. The strap though is probably equally as stunning as the watch. This gorgeous cognac colour is absolutely marvellous. Unfortunately, it is starting to fray at the edges, starting to peel up, which is a real shame. Hopefully I can find one that looks as good as this, that's slightly better quality, and put that one on instead. But regardless, it's just an absolutely stunning watch. Definitely one of the highlights of the collection for sure. Next is the Casio F91WB, and this is just a really cool summer watch. It's like a classic Casio F91W, but more minimalist. Some of the text has been removed from around the display, and of course it comes on this gorgeous white bioresin strap. Just a really fun watch, and cheap as well. I think it was about £21–22. You can't beat that really. Not much more to say about it. It's a Casio. You can't go wrong with Casio. Everyone loves Casio, even me. Next is another AliExpress homage. This time it's the Addis Dive AD2096, and it's basically a copy of the Rolex Explorer 6350, which I believe is the first Rolex reference to persistently feature Explorer on the dial. And it's very attractive, very affordable. It uses the Seiko VH31, which is the same as other watches by Addis Dive, like the AD2030 and AD2066. It's basically the same watch, but with a swap date dial. Now, I went for the one with the faux patina lume, the creamy lume, which I think just adds to that idea that this is a old-fashioned vintage watch. And it nails the look. I think I paid like £30 odd for this, which is just ridiculous value. I mean, yes, it's not going to stack up to the very best in the industry, of course not. But if you've got £30 to spend and you want an attractive watch, it's a no-brainer. Now we come to the most fun watch on the list, which is the Timex Weekender Pac-Man edition. And yeah, it's basically just a regular, boring Timex Weekender case, but with a Pac-Man themed dial. Yeah, what can I say? It's just really fun. Its party piece is that the Indiglo, you know, when you press the crown, it lights up the Pac-Man maze, which is cool, but not actually that practical. I mean, the idea of Indiglo is you can tell the time in the dark, but you can't really tell the time because all you can see is the bloody maze. But it looks cool, and that's all that matters, you know. I think I paid about £70 for this, which is the maximum I would pay. I've seen them go for over £100. I wouldn't pay that. You know, it is an inexpensive watch, and the movement is so loud. It's quartz movement. It keeps you awake at night if you're not careful. But yeah, just a fun watch. Did I say I only bought 8 watches? Well, I sort of lied there. I have got another 2 on pre-order, but they're not here yet, so I can't really count them in this video. You'll have to wait till the next one for that. You know, I do buy a lot of watches, but I don't really regret it. The only watches I regret are watches I didn't buy, and there's a handful of watches that I really wish I had picked up, but for whatever reason I made the decision not to. I know a lot of people will say consolidate, you know, put your money into one watch instead of 10, you know, one expensive watch, but I like the variety. I like the fun of buying, selling, owning, collecting, hoarding even. You know, call me a hoarder if you want, but that's the way I like to do it. And maybe that will change in the future. Maybe I'll sell them all and buy one Rolex and I'll be happy about it, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. So that's the end of the mini update. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know if there's anything you think I should add that I desperately need to add to the collection. That's all I've got time for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time.